Simeone, and we all know what a passionate guy he is. I'm sure you saw what happened at Anfield with the crowd. And I just wonder, on a managerial level, manager to manager, how difficult it must be at sometimes when you're on the touchline not to react, particularly when the crowd's right on top of you. It must be a test.
It is as well, because you are defending your club and your players, and you know that small details can define at the end whether you win a match or not, and we are there living it with high emotions and very difficult to control. And you see sometimes when we get really upset, sometimes really high, we start to run with our players and celebrating goals. I think it's something natural. I think it has to be understood when it's done in a respectful way, as always. And from my experience, I think over the years, try to be a little bit calmer, but there are moments that obviously is not easy.
We know also what a passionate guy you are, as you say just then. Has that arguably been one of your toughest challenges to actually, I mean, you're known as being quite excitable on the touchline in the most respectful way, but equally, has that been one of the hardest things about keeping it together?
Yeah, especially the side that it doesn't give you much and it can take things to you or for the team, especially when you react in a way that is not necessarily good. I think we have a responsibility as well to lead with an example, and sometimes I've done it. I made mistakes on that, so try to learn from there and try to not to do them again.
Dave? I wanted to talk to you about Simeone. Actually, you mentioned the clear identity that his team have got. I just wonder, in your own words, if you can expand a little bit on what that identity means to you.
Well, if I have to use it in very words, it's the willingness to win, and then after that drives everything. Probably their methodology, the way they live, the way they behave, the way they act in everything, and the purpose that they have, which is at the end to win. And they find a way to do it, and they've changed a lot of players, and they changed, and the competition in Spain has increased, and they have two very big clubs, and they've always been there. And that's something that is driven by their mentality and their passion. And after that, there are specific things in the way, in my opinion, that he sees the game and he tries to encourage his teams to play that are more specific. But the main thing, I would say, is that.
I would also say, just listening to you talk about this Atletico team and Simeone, you could almost be talking about your own team. Is that a fair comment? Do you see that parallel between what you're saying about him and what you see with your own team?
I don't know from the outside. I'm just looking from my side. I don't have the detail there. Well, they have won as well some major trophies. They've been in Champions League finals. They have made other steps there when it was really important to make that step. We need to do that, and we are in the journey to try to achieve it.
Sam?
3 goals conceded all season. Why is the defence so good?
Well, for many reasons, but obviously because collectively we acknowledge the importance of that. We feel it. We know that if we excel that part of the game, the chances and the probability to win football matches is going to be very, very high for us. And I try to implement it and then try to be consistent.
That buy-in from the forward players too, is that what kind of sets the tone?
I think so, yeah. Because if there is not that connection, it's very impossible. Because in football, you don't get to choose which actions I do defend and which actions I don't. Because the ones that you don't want in the Premier League, in the Champions League, is enough to lose a match or to concede a goal. And then, rely on them and have very good players, very important as well.
Is that something you think that you've had to instill in the players in your time here over the course of all those years?
I don't know. I try to do it so they really feel it, that they don't do it like the Saliba example because we tell them to do it. I think when you are able to really put it in the players' veins and DNA, I think it's much more powerful.
And finally to Charlie.
Mikel, over the years, I'm sure you were Arsenal fans of sons of 1-0 to the Arsenal. And that sort of goes back to the period under George Graham when obviously they used to win 1-0 a lot and win the title. I was just wondering how much when you were first aware of this chant and how much you know about that team that was so solid. There's there was Tony Adams and David O'Neill, these legendary players. What do you know about that side? And obviously they effectively are winning.
Well, the details of that, not much, because it was a different era. But if that's associated to successful teams and teams that brought joy to our supporters and the club, more than welcome.
But it shows you, doesn't it, that at that time they didn't care about, it was all about the victory, which is very much the case now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and especially now. In modern football, the margins and the results you see, it's one goal most of the times, a lot of the times, and that defines whether you win or not. So you have to be happy and comfortable dealing with those small margins and find ways to win it.
Okay, well, see you
Yeah,
tomorrow night.
thank you guys, thank you.